So good morning YouTube, it is I, Danielle, better known as Danielle the Happy Medium, and in today's viewers question answered, we're going to talk about thinking ourselves into mediumship. So off the back of a question from one of my students in the United States of America, her question to me was, Danielle, there's many videos out there telling you about clairs, about doorkeepers, about energy, about all these types of things, but none of them tell you how to get yourself into mediumship or how to know you have connected to the mediumship world. So let me break this down for us, for you, anybody who's watching. Mediumship is basically thoughts. So we are connecting to the spirit world using our thoughts or thought-based pattern there. Now, if you're watching the open and closing video I did a couple of days ago, you will have seen me talk about the mechanics or talk about structure or ideas that we place within our mind in order so that we say to the mind or the conscious mind or the spiritual mind, we're ready to work. So if we take the open and closing technique, which was one, we could open the flower up, put the light up, put the grounding down, we would then be ready to work for the spirit world. Or we could shift our consciousness, tell ourselves that we are working for the spirit world, and that is it. So what basically I say when I say thinking ourselves into the mediumship business or thinking ourselves into the spirit world is, when I get ready to work, what I do is I say within my mind, now I'm working for the spirit world, and everything that floods into my mind from here on in is the spirit world and nothing but the spirit world. And over the 4 years that I've been demonstrating and working, it has worked every time. The first was when I used to do the simple technique, which is the one I've just talked about, but as my mediumship's grown and moved, obviously now all I do is just think myself into the spirit world. So what I will do is I will think within my mind when I've said what I've said, and I will say, who's there? 9 times out of 10, I get an answer. Normally, I'll hear dad, mum, grandma, mother-in-law, whatever it may be. Or I may become aware through my thought pattern that there is a feeling different to the feeling of my own energy. This is where I talk about sitting in the power, because sitting in the power helps you to understand your energy so that when you're blending with the spirit world, which is the technique that I use when I'm training my trainees, which is the ABC technique, it is attunement, blendment, and communication, which is what we do when sitting in the power is we're tuning. Then we're getting ready to blend, which is thinking ourselves into the spirit world, and C is communication. So what happens is that when we are asking these questions, because everything is thought-based, remember, what you need to do is just say, who's there? 9 times out of 10, like I say, you'll get an answer. If you don't hear it, you might see somebody. A lot of people ask me a question about when they go to bed, they start seeing faces and things. The reason this is because you have thought yourself into the spirit world. Basically, because as you've laid down, your mind is still working. And what has happened is as you've been thinking, you've eventually changed your thought pattern. Your thought pattern has moved from the conscious world over to the spirit world, which is what I call flipping the switch, which is we have thought ourselves from the conscious world into the spiritual world. What then tends to happen is you have to think yourself back out of the spiritual world into the conscious world. So when people say to me, how do you connect? How do you link to the spirit world? How do you do this? How do you do that? It's as easy as pie, really. It's basically you think yourself in. The only problem is you got to trust what you're getting. And ultimately, a lot of people think that it's imagination or that they are making it up in these types of scenarios. Whatever it is, when you put your intention to that statement, which is what I say when I go to do any sitting, any demonstration, anything, I am now working for the spirit world. Everything that comes into my mind there after that is the spirit world and nothing more. It's just whether or not you put it in the right package or you put it in the right way in order so that the sitter in front of you can understand it. Because as we know, working with the spirit world and thinking things, the way we think and how the spirit world thinks are two different things. And we can have a little bit of a lap over there. But the spirit world, when I talk about knowledge toolboxes, spiritual toolboxes, and these types of things, the spirit world use the knowledge within our minds in order to be able to get over the information that is needed to the sitter there. So when people ask me, how do you connect to the spirit world, Danielle? It's thought-based. You think it. You think yourself in there. Learning to trust what you get. I've seen some things lately about imagination and you use your imagination to connect to the spirit world. I tend to disagree with that one. Reason being because imagination can be pretend. And you're pretending it's the spirit world when really it's not. This technique is a far better technique, and it is about thinking yourself into the spirit world, because every living thing has the potential to manifest it into something. And what tends to happen is the spirit world uses thought-based and things that you think in order to be able to latch on to that and grow that in there. So the next time you want to think yourself into the in the mediumship business, into the mediumship movement, or into the spirit world, sit quietly, tell yourself you're working for the spirit world, and think yourself in there. So you start asking who's there, are you a man or a woman? You know, you start asking 1,000,001 questions. Now, a lot of people might say this is structured mediumship, in which it is, and to an extent, so I tend to stay away from that. So the best question to ask is, who's there? What's your relationship to the people in front of us? And then ask, what is your story? And what is it about you that makes you unique to your loved one? What would they know about you, and what would make it important to them? And they will always give you the information back. Learn to trust what you get, learn to give what you get, and you will find that your mediumship will move forward really, really quickly. With connection to thinking yourself out of the spirit world, what you do is you use, once you're finished working or doing what you're doing, you just say you're not working for the spirit world anymore. And what you will do is you will then think yourself back to the normal world, which is going around doing your day-to-day tasks, hoovering, making a cup of tea, going shopping. They are normal day-to-day tasks. They will bring you from the spirit world back into the walking world there. So for my lovely girl in the States, I love her dearly. I'm starting to train a lot more of them out there in the United States of America, due to this lovely lady's help and, helping me out there. I'm really grateful to you. For those who have any sort of questions or comments, leave them in the box. I'm pleased to be back on YouTube. It's going to be some more videos going up and a few more over the next few days, because I am at home this weekend, which is nice. Because unfortunately I'm always on the go. But thanks very much to all the new subscribers. Thanks to everybody who's been joining us over here. There is a live Q&A on Saturday evening. So if you may want to bring your questions along on Saturday evening, 7:30, I look forward to answering them there. But in this video, we've been talking about thinking ourselves into the spirit world. I've been Danielle, better known as the Danielle the Happy Medium, and I will see you all very, very soon.